again. Welcome to class 731. All right, vocabulary and paragraphs today. Vocabulary booklet, page 158. 158. Garantizar is to guarantee. Te garantizo que es verdad. I guarantee you that it's true. I assure you, te aseguro. I guarantee that everything will be okay. Guarantee. También una garantía es a guarantee. Guarantee. The guarantee. Poner en peligro is to jeopardize. Uf, geopardice. Esto te va a geopardizar. Jeopardize. Poner en peligro. Comprometer. Esto puede comprometer tu futuro. This can jeopardize your future. Poner en peligro tu futuro. Yes, to jeopardize. Geopardice. Jeopardize. Interesting verb. To jeopardize. All right. Tener sentido is to make sense. No tiene sentido. It doesn't make sense. Learning languages doesn't make sense. Why? I think it does. You can communicate with more people. Oh, yeah. All right. And besides, learning a second language sharpens your brain. It makes you more intelligent. The effort you need to make. The focus, it trains your brain, it exercises your brain. I always recommend trying to learn another language as well as possible because it's a good, especially people who are retired, I think it's good for their brain to focus on verbs, conjugations, structures, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions. It's a very good exercise for the human brain. Because if your brain is atrophying slowly, start learning a language. It's a good exercise. Yes, sir. Ejercicio cerebral. All right, it makes sense. It makes sense. ¿Tiene sentido? It makes sense. ¿No tiene sentido? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Any se usa mucho, pero es opcional. It doesn't make any sense. Realizar, ejecutar, rendir, to perform. To perform my functions. I'm an English teacher. My job is to teach English. And I need to perform my function or my job as well as possible. Job performance. El rendimiento del trabajo. El desempeño is the performance. A performance review. Revisión del desempeño en el empleo. Review, a performance. Rendimiento del motor. Es un motor de alto rendimiento. It's a high performance engine. A Ferrari. The Italian Ferrari is a high performance car. To perform. Performance, se dice mucho. Performance, to perform. Ahora, to perform también es actuar en un escenario, to perform. A performer es un actor, actriz, artista del escenario o del plató, is a performer. Yes. Marcel Marceau, he's a mime, he's a performer. Eugenio, you remember, the comedian, he was a performer, telling jokes, but he was a performer. To perform, it's a very important verb. It's used in many areas. Rendimiento motor is performance. El motor rinde bien. El motor, it performs very well. To perform. Es como actuar, como desempeñar su función. To perform, prevenir, evitar. To prevent. Más vale prevenir que curar. In English, it's totally different. It's better to be safe than sorry. Es mejor estar seguro que lamentarlo. It's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to be safe than sorry. Más vale prevenir que curar. Okay, fine. But to prevent crime. Prevenir contra el crimen. To prevent. Crime prevention. Yes. A policeman is a crime prevention agent. Un agente para la prevención del crimen. To prevent. Ascender, subir is to rise. Yes, to rise. Okay. Yes, to rise. The water level, high tide, low tide, high tide, the water rises. When low tide, then the water starts rising, it's high tide. Marea alta, marea baja. Tide, escrito tide. Low tide, the water goes down and then it rises. The sun rises in the east. It sets in the west. To rise. Apresurarse is to rush, to hurry. Don't rush. You don't need to rush. No rush. Se dice muchísimo en inglés, no rush. Nada de prisa. No hay prisa. No hay prisa. We say no rush. No rush. No rush. No hurry. To hurry. Recomiendo hurry. Se dice más. Bueno, no. Se dice igual. Hurry up is date prisa. Hurry. Sin el up o con el up. Hurry up. Ándale pues. Hurry up. Come on. Come on. Hurry up. No rush. I just say no. There's no rush. Esta expresión, there is no rush, se dice muchísimo. No hay prisa, no te preocupes. All right, there's no rush. Mantener, apoyar es to support. Mantener económicamente es to support. Mantengo a mi familia. I support my family. I'm the breadwinner. My wife doesn't work, so I'm the breadwinner. Soy el ganador del pan, o sea, las habichuelas, dice aquí. I put the food on the table. Se dice también eso. Yo pongo la comida en la mesa. I put the food on the table. I'm the breadwinner. I support my family. I support. Support también es apoyar, respaldar. Te respaldaré. I'll support you. Support también puede ser económicamente. The supporters son miembros de un club de fútbol que sí, con sus cuotas. They are supporters. They support the club financially to support. Cuidar is to take care of. Cuídate. Take care. See you tomorrow. Take care. Se dice muchísimo en español también. Hasta mañana. Cuídate. Take care. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Cuídate a ti mismo o de ti mismo. Cuida. To take care of. Yo cuido las plantas en la casa. I take care of the plants. I take care of the dog. I take care of the children. I take care of everybody. Yeah. Somebody has to do it. I take care of a lot of people. I take care. I look after. Ahora, look after es cuidar realmente con cuidados y atención y vigilancia. That's to look after. To take care of es igual que eso. Pero también es ocuparse de asuntos. I'll take care of it. No puedes hacerlo. Bueno, ya, me ocupo yo, no te preocupes. I'll take care of it. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. Yes. Can you take care of this question? Oye, ¿puedes ocuparte de esa cuestión? Can you take care of that matter? Can you take care of that question? All right, my friends, paragraphs. We're going to finish this soon. Paragraph number 190. There are only 9 paragraphs left. So within a month's time, we have finished this. Paragraph number 190. If you really want to drive him crazy, put him in a job that requires filling out forms for the administration. I once had a job like that, and I can guarantee you that he'll go crazy in a year, if not sooner. Understand? No? If you really want to drive him crazy, put him in a job that requires filling out forms for the administration. Me río con esto. Filling out forms for the administration. I once had a job like that, and I can guarantee you, I can guarantee you that he'll go crazy in a year, within a year, if not sooner. All right. If you really want to drive him crazy, si de verdad quieres volverle loco, if you really want to volverle loco, uno decimos conducirle la locura. If you really want to drive him crazy, put him in a job, ¿no? Yeah, ponle en un trabajo. Put him in a job that requires filling out forms for the administration. The administration is the public administration, administración pública. Filling out forms, rellenando impresos. Formularios. If you want to drive, if you really, si de verdad quieres volver loco, if you really want to drive him crazy, put him in a job that requires, que requiera, filling out forms, to fill out forms for the administration. I once had a job like that. Yeah, yo una vez tuve un trabajo así. I once had a job like that. And I can guarantee you, te lo puedo garantizar, I can guarantee you that he'll go crazy within a year. Dentro de un año, o sea, en un año. Sino antes, if not sooner. Sino más pronto, if not sooner. So, if you really want to drive him crazy, drive me crazy, drive you crazy, drive her crazy, drive them crazy, drive us crazy. If you really want to drive him crazy, put him, colócale. Put him in a job, put him in a job. Monosílabas. Put him in a job, put him, enlazando con las consonantes, put him in a job, put him in a job that requires filling out forms, nombre, name, address, telephone number, identity number. Put him in a job that requires filling out forms for the administration. Yeah, I once had a job like that. I once had a job like that, and I can guarantee you that he'll go crazy within a year, if not sooner, sino antes. Within a year, dentro de un año. Se volverá loco dentro de un año. Within a year, within. Or in nos vale. Perfectamente. He'll go crazy in a year, if not sooner. All right, paragraph number 191. The tribes of East Africa are quite different from the ones you visit along the West Coast. They're not quite as black, perhaps because of the Arabic and Indian influence. Also, their tribal customs are completely different. I would say there's a bigger difference between them than there is in Europe between the Swedes and the Italians, between Swedes and Italians. Wow, ¿has entendido algo? She didn't understand a thing. The tribes of East Africa are quite different from the ones you visited along the West Coast. They're not quite as black, perhaps because of the Arabic and Indian influence. Also, their tribal customs are completely different. I would say that there's a bigger difference between them than there is in Europe between Swedes and Italians. All right. Are the Swedish people similar to the Italian people? Marta's falling asleep. Am I boring? No, I'm okay. Swedish people, are the Swedish people similar to the Italian people? No. There's a big difference between the Swedish people and the Italian people. However, for a person in Japan, for a Japanese person, perhaps the difference between the Swedish people and the Italian people is not so big. I don't know. But in any case, here we're not talking about Swedes and Italians. Swedes, los suecos, are the Swedish people or the Swedes? The Swedes. The Italians, the difference between Swedes and Italians. But we're not talking about Europe. We're talking about Africa. The tribes of East Africa. Las tribus del este de África. Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, South Sudan, that area, East Africa. The tribes of East Africa are quite different from the ones you visited along the West Coast. So I'm speaking to a person who has visited the west coast of Africa. The west coast of Africa is Mauritania, Senegal, the Gambia, Liberia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, well, also Nigeria, Togo, Benin, and I don't remember. The Ivory Coast, La Costa de Marfil. That's West Africa. Now, comparing with East Africa, Somalia, Ethiopia, etc. Now, the tribes, las tribus. Me costó 5 años dominar la tribu, femenino. Se decía el tribu. Okay. Okay, la tribu. The tribes of East Africa are quite different from the ones you visited along the west coast, a lo largo de la costa oeste de África, del continente. So apparently you visited West Africa and made a statement about the African people. I said, wait a minute, whoa. The tribes of East Africa are quite different from the ones you visited along the west coast. They're not quite as black. No son tan negros. Yes. Perhaps, a lo mejor, ¿por qué? Perhaps because of the Arabic and Indian influence. Mucho influjo árabe e hindú in that area. Perhaps because of the Arabic and Indian influence. Also, es más, también. Also, their tribal customs, las costumbres tribales, also their tribal customs are completely different. Yeah, between East Africa and West Africa. I would say that there's a bigger difference between them than there is in Europe between Swedes and Italians. Which means, in my opinion, aquí, and it's not, the difference between the people in Ethiopia and Somalia and the people in Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Ivory Coast, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, the difference between them is greater than the difference in Europe between the Swedish people and the Italian people. And there's a big difference. I mean, for us, for our European sensitivity, there's a big difference between people in Italy and people in Sweden. But in a sub-Saharan African, the difference between a Somali and a Senegalese is very, very different too. Very, very different. At least according to this paragraph. This is a difficult paragraph. The tribes of East Africa, are quite different from the ones you visit, de las que visitaste, a lo largo de la costa oeste de África. The tribes of East Africa are quite different from the ones you visited along the west coast. They are not quite as black, perhaps because of the Arabic and Indian influence, because it's only divided by the Red Sea. Tienes el Mar Rojo y luego tienes la península arábiga, the Arabian Peninsula, Yemen, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and of course, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, etc. Now, it's very, very close, but to Ethiopia, Djibouti, South Sudan, the Sudan, etc. The tribes of East Africa are quite different from the ones you visited along the west coast. They're not quite as black, perhaps because of the Arabic and Indian influence. Also, their tribal customs are completely different. Costumbres tribales are completely different. I would say that there's a bigger difference between them than in Europe between the Swedes and the Italians. All right. It's an interesting paragraph. I don't know if it's true. How much time? Do we have time for one more? Oh, yeah. Paragraph 1, Paragraph number 192. Are you ready? Working with him, para él, trabajar con él. Working with him was the greatest opportunity I've ever had in my working life. I agree with you that he's a demanding boss, but he's fair with everybody. And one thing that I consider very important is that he doesn't expect people to work long hours. He doesn't let anyone waste time on the job. So it's normal for the work to be done faster. Okay. Yes. Apparently somebody has asked me about my old boss, where I used to work, donde antes trabajaba, donde antes el jefe anterior. Working with him was the greatest opportunity I've ever had in my working life. Mi vida laboral, my working life. Yes. Working with him was, which means I don't work with him anymore. I used to work with him. I used to work with him, but I don't anymore. Working with him was the greatest opportunity I've ever had. Fíjate en la U, veva. Yes. Veva vive. Vigo, vive, veva. I have ever had, que yo nunca tenido. O sea, no he tenido nunca. Trabajar con él es la mayor oportunidad que he tenido en toda mi vida laboral. Okay. Working with him was. Aquí dice es, yo aquí. It's interesting that in the Spanish translation, it's in the present tense. In the English, it's in the past. Working with him was the greatest opportunity, la oportunidad más grande, más importante. Working with him was the greatest opportunity I've ever had. I have ever, alguna vez en mi vida, ever es alguna vez en mi vida, had, que nunca he tenido en la vida. Working with him was the greatest opportunity I've ever had. I agree with you that he's a demanding boss, exigente, that he's a demanding boss. But I agree with you that he's a demanding boss. I agree with you that he's a demanding boss, but he's fair with everybody. He's fair, sí, justo, con todos. Hay justicia. He's fair with everybody. And one thing that I consider very important, one thing that I consider very, con V, very important, is that he doesn't expect people to work long hours. To work long hours. Here in Spain, people work long hours. Yeah. La gente trabaja, people start work at 9 o'clock and they finish at 7. So that's long. In the United States, people start at 9 and they finish at 5. 9 to 5. Es una frase hecha. De 9 a 5. 9 to 5. De hecho, había una película, Cómo matar al jefe. Yeah. Do you remember that? I can't remember the names. Jane Fonda, la espampanante esta rubia, cantante. I can't remember her name. She's a country western singer. She's a very good professional. And la mujer la antigua mujer de Antonio Banderas. I can't remember her name either. Melanie Griffith, Jane Fonda, and la rubia. Okay. And it was Cómo matar a tu jefe in Spanish. But in English, the original title is 9 to 5. 9 to 5. Es la jornada clásica americana. 9 to 5. La gente se va a casa at 5. 9 to 5. Here in Spain, no. People work long hours. Se dice así. Yo trabajo de sol a sol. I work long hours. Trabajo horas largas. Largas horas. Trabajo largas horas. Así se dice más que de ninguna otra forma. 70 horas a la semana. I work long hours. Yes, which is not true. One thing that I consider very important is that he doesn't expect his people to work long hours. He doesn't let anyone waste time on the job. So it's normal for the work to be done faster. So he's a very good manager, making people, let's get this finished, then let's go home. That's all. It's time to go home. Finish everything. All right, so he's a good taskmaster. Maestro de tareas. And he thinks, with a whip? I don't know. Whip? I don't think so. He's demanding, but he's fair. All right. Working with him was the greatest opportunity I've ever had in my working life. I agree with you that he's a demanding boss, but he's fair with everybody, etc., etc. I'll come back and finish this little paragraph tomorrow. Take care.